Well, let's see. And one of the most I told you so ironic, hypocritical things I've seen lately, DC mayor complains about migrants coming from Texas and Arizona. Complains. Let's see what they have to say. Washington, D.C.'s Mayor Muriel Bowser raised concerns over Texas sending busloads of migrants to the nation's capital during a recent appearance on CBS Face the Nation. Imagine that. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has been busy busing migrants to D.C. since April, when he announced that the Texas Division of Emergency Management would oversee the transportation of migrants to the nation's capital. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey instituted a similar program a few weeks later. Kind of funny right there, considering they're the ones getting migrants, thousands of migrants a day. We are sending them to the United States Capitol, where the Biden administration will be able to more immediately address the needs of the people that they are allowing to come across the border, Abbott said when announcing the program. A press release explaining the program clarified that only migrants who arrive at the border and are processed and released by the Department of Homeland Security would be offered a voluntary bus ride to D.C. How nice. Doesn't that just make your heart warm? You're going to the nation's capital. You've passed all this type stuff. Here you go. During the interview, host Margaret Brennan mentioned a Washington Post report that suggested D.C.'s homeless shelters are filling up with processed migrants being bussed in from Texas and Arizona. Since April, the two states have sent at least 4,000 migrants to the nation's capital. 4,000 since April. And their homeless shelters are filling up. Imagine the border. Bowser acknowledged that this was a significant issue, while calling for a coordinated federal response to manage the migrants being bussed in. She also expressed concern that some migrants are allegedly being tricked onto the buses. Well, this is a very significant issue. We have for sure called on the federal government to work across state lines to prevent people from really being tricked into getting on buses. We think they're largely asylum seekers who are going to the final destinations that are not Washington, D.C. How do you know where their final destination is? Bowser was further asked whether taxpayers on the local or national level are paying for the migrants to be housed in homeless shelters. Local taxpayers are not picking up the tab. They should not pick up the tab, Bowser said. We really need a coordinated federal response. We know that it's done for refugees who come to the states from all points of the world, and the same has to be done in this situation. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection recently released its June monthly report, which revealed over 200,000 encounters with unlawful migrants along the southern border. That figure includes over 15,000 unaccompanied children. Border communities are overwhelmed and overrun, and Governor Abbott launched the Border Bus mission back in April to help provide support to these communities, pleading for help where the Biden administration is dumping migrants. Abbott spokesman Renee Iz said, with our nation's capital now experiencing a fraction of the disaster created by Biden's reckless open border policies that our state faces every single day, maybe he'll finally do his job and secure the border. I mean, think about this. 200,000. And they're complaining about 2% of just what encounters. That's not actual. I mean, the real numbers are probably much higher. And they're overwhelmed by just this much and want federal government. She should be saying to the federal government, shut down the border. But Democrats can't do that because of the far left. is under the assumption we should allow everybody in. And this really is a thing from the far left. Now, the far left needs to wake up. U.S. cannot take everybody in. We can't. We've got inflation. We got all these other problems, and they want to bring in more and make even more problems. Yeah. Well, what do you think? Is this kind of funny that she's doing this? No, over 4,000 when they're getting over 200,000. Doesn't make her argument that well. That Washington D.C. Like it's happening with leftists. It's happening to somebody else over there. So you need to take care of it. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. I'm on Rumble. I'm also on YouTube. And I'll see you next video.